So, hey everyone, and welcome. My name is John Nerrill. I help professionals who are ambitious about their careers create their next advancement opportunity. And I want to welcome you because today is my 50th Facebook Live. And it is amazing to me how quickly this time has gone. I want to thank you for following along, whether you've joined me live or you have caught the replays or checked out these videos on YouTube. But I am so grateful and honored that you are along this journey with me as I help you figure out what's next in your career. So oftentimes people will say to me, who do you work with? And I tell them I work with primarily 3 different types of people. I work with the person who's looking for that internal promotion. I work with the person who's in a leadership role, and I help them determine how they want to show up energetically and professionally, which is a big part of today's talk and conversation with you about your leadership presence. And the 3rd type of clients I work with are those people who are pretty much just done. They're done where they're at, and they're looking to leverage their talents and expertise and take them elsewhere. I basically help people figure out what's next. And in order to help them figure out what's next, I have a 3-step process that I believe we all follow, and I walk my clients through this. And you can find it in my free resource that's on my website called 3 Steps to Creating Your Next Advancement Opportunity Without Feeling Overwhelmed. You simply fill out the form, confirm your email, you'll get the workbook, and it'll also enroll you into my email community where I email everybody Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. And I want to welcome some new people into the Facebook group and into the email list, and glad to have everybody here. So welcome. All right. So today I'm talking with you about your leadership presence and what that all means. So to start, I want you to think about how you show up and how you show up energetically and professionally to your team. So remember, there is something about how you show up and how other people perceive you. But how we show up as a leader is in direct alignment to our core values. And in order for you to get really clear on who you are as a leader, you have to get really clear on what core values are most important to you. There are dozens and dozens of core values that leaders emulate and follow in their day-to-day work. But there needs to be that core value, or maybe 2, that resonate so strongly with you, they are absolute, they are unwavering, they are exactly who you are and how you show up to your team and your organization each and every day. So your leadership presence is identified and defined by those core values. For me, my 2 core values are service and connection. And whenever I've operated in a leadership role, it has always been about me being of service to the team in leading them as I saw best and how the organization needed them to move. But it was also about building a powerful connection with them. And so in your leadership presence, you have to value connection. I'm not saying to you that connection has to be one of your core values, but you do have to recognize the importance of connecting with your team. And I say this in part because I see this so often with younger professionals where they struggle with a disconnect between themselves and their leadership. And when that happens, they leave. And it's not that it doesn't happen with more seasoned professionals, but the truth of the matter is, if you as a leader are not connecting with people on your team, that is a missed opportunity. And the connection doesn't have to be a check-in meeting. The connection can simply be passing them in the hallway and ignoring them. And so I want to talk to you about this for a minute because, quite honestly, this is a big pet peeve of mine when I work with people in leadership roles that they miss this valuable piece. You are walking to a meeting. You are walking in the hallway. Maybe you're talking with somebody, and somebody with whom you work with, somebody on your team passes you in the opposite direction. Do you acknowledge them or do you ignore them? However you choose to answer that question is a connection that you've either made or you've missed. Yes, if you're walking with someone and you're talking with them, you don't want to be rude and interrupt the conversation, but you can wave, you can give them a head nod, acknowledge them that they're there, give them a smile, something. But I have had people, both whom I've worked with and whom I have had as clients, who have talked to me and said things like, they just ignore me. So we have to value connection even in its simplest form. Because a missed opportunity to connect with someone on your team goes right into the next point about impression management. I read an article this week, and I forget who the author was, but they talked about this concept called impression management, meaning you are responsible for the impressions that other people have of you based on how you interact with them. So if someone on your team says that you're distant, you are neglectful, or you are avoiding, and another person on your team is like, oh my gosh, they answer every email I have, they pick up the phone when I call, we go out for happy hour, blah, blah, blah. You've got two different impressions there of people, and you need to manage that. You need to manage that accordingly. So there is something in your leadership presence that is consistent. Consistency is big as who you are as a leader. Yes, you do have to treat everybody with the same level of respect and professionalism that they deserve. They deserve a high level of respect and professionalism. So be mindful of that. And keep in mind that as a leader and in your leadership presence, you need to have the proper mindset for how you choose to show up and lead. So what is your mindset? I'm going to challenge you on this right now. As a leader, what is the mindset that you go into work every single day and you do? That mindset is what's going to help you show up energetically and professionally consistent into how you interact, how you lead, how you deliver feedback, how you make the necessary business decisions that need to be made. Because when you have the leadership mindset, as however you define it, that's in direct alignment to your core values, then you are mindful about how you show up. You are mindful about how you interact with the people on your team. You are mindful about every single decision and interaction you make. So how is your leadership presence defined? I'm going to pause for a little bit here, and I just want you to write down a few words that are coming up for you right now about who you are as a leader and how other people view your leadership presence. Just take a moment and write it down. Don't just think about it. Write it down, because there's power in seeing the words on the paper. Are you writing stuff down? I'll give you a few more seconds here. Okay. Look at those. Look at what you've written down. And I want you to ask yourself if the people on your team whom you directly lead, would they say the same things? How confident are you that the people whom you get to lead with each day know those traits about you? And they would confirm those. It's why 360 assessments can be very, very powerful, because they can shatter some of the perceptions that we as leaders may have in the workplace. I want to share with you an interesting story. I was having a conversation with a leader one time about the importance of transparency, and it was a vibrant conversation. I don't want to say it was heated. It was definitely vibrant. But in the conversation, this leader said to me that they didn't believe necessarily in being transparent because there were things that not everybody needed to know. And on some level, I could agree with where they were coming from. But I also challenged them on the whole concept of transparency. Because when we're transparent, it's all about keeping people informed. And it's a powerful way to connect with the people on your team. But we can't throw decisions out there and just let them fall wherever they may. It is about being transparent, but also backing up with an explanation or stating reasons as to why or because. I've seen this a lot in company restructurings and in reorganizations where people that are so-called, a little lower on the chain are really feeling out of the loop because they don't know why the decision was being made. You can talk about needing to cut back on resources or needing to restructure based on management or an organizational chart, or there's financial issues that just need to be attended to. And so there's going to be some layoffs. Whatever that might be, people need to understand the because or the why that comes after this. So as you think about your leadership presence, I encourage you to think about where transparency sits with you and your team. I will also tell you that whenever there's been a separation, whenever, let's say I've been in a role where I've had to terminate people, and it's never pleasant and it's never easy. And I always follow that basic tenet and my core value about service and connection, that if the roles were reversed, I'd always want the same process done for me. So it was important for me how I've had to show up in those moments. But I've had people come to me and they say, well, why was so-and-so let go? That you can't share. That's a legal issue. You cannot tell people reasons as to why someone was terminated or things like that. So we do have to know where that line is very, very clearly drawn. But remember, when people are asking for transparency, they're asking for information. And you have to decide whether you can or you cannot give it to them. But you can always make it a point to connect with them. And that's a key part in this whole conversation around leadership presence. Yeah. So the last thing I want to share with you is a program that I have that was developed by Bruce Schneider, who founded my coaching program, where I went through to get my certification, called IPEC, the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching. The program is called Energy Leadership. And the great part about energy leadership and the Energy Leadership Index assessment is that it has been reviewed and rated by Forbes as one of the top strengths assessments to give in the workplace. And what differentiates the Energy Leadership Index from assessment batteries or inventories like Myers-Briggs and Clifton Strengths Finders is that the Energy Leadership Index is an attitudinal assessment. It helps you identify the lenses you place on situations when you're performing at your best and also when you're under stress. And if you're in a leadership role, there's no question you are under a lot of stress. There's no question that there are people on your team that are varying their energy levels as well, given the circumstances that they have. So over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking about energy leadership. And that's this big push in this month of February, and what I'm calling Leadership February, is to spend some time talking more and more about the concepts of energy leadership and how it can help you as a leader show up more energetically and professionally in the workplace. In my practice, for any of my clients that sign on to work with me individually, the first thing we do is they take the Energy Leadership Index assessment, and we debrief about their results, and we talk about what their coaching plan looks like moving forward. So stay tuned over the next couple of weeks, because there's going to be a lot of information about this program called Energy Leadership and how it's going to benefit you in whatever leadership role you have across any organization. So as you think about your leadership presence, think about how you show up energetically and professionally. Think about whether or not the opinions, the perceptions, and the impressions of the people on your team align with how you believe you show up each and every day. How do you want to show up? What does that actually mean for you? I hope you'll stay tuned over the next couple of weeks, because we're going to talk about energy leadership and how we as leaders can show up more energetically and professionally. And when we're stressed, how we can find some ways to shift our energy quicker and more effectively than ever before. So stay tuned over the next few weeks. I'm excited to share this information with you. But for now, today has all been about your leadership presence. 50 shows and I get tongue-tied still. All right, there we go. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you for checking in on me and checking in and absorbing this content that I've been able to put out each and every week. If you're interested in learning more about working with me, you can email me at john@johnnerrell.com. If you like today's video, please hit the like button, the subscribe button on YouTube, and share this. Share this with people whom you think may benefit from today's message. And I look forward to seeing you next week for show 51. We keep going. All right, we'll talk to you later, everybody. Have a great rest of the day.